Good morning and welcome to another episode of Trucking Tips with Dave. This episode we're going to talk about level crossings, one of the most potentially hazardous interactions between two of the biggest modes of transport. We talked to Megan Drayton, Foundation Manager for the TrackSAFE Charitable Trust. She gave us some information about level crossings and some key tips to remember when approaching them and negotiating them. So with me on Trucking Tips with Dave today is Megan Drayton, and she's Foundation Manager of the charitable trust TrackSAFE. And what they do is pretty much explained in the name, but they are an industry advisory and awareness group for safety around level crossings. Hi Megan, how are you?
I'm really good, thanks Dave.
So Megan, why is TrackSAFE keen to talk to truckies about safety at level crossings?
Oh, well, look, collisions between trains and heavy vehicles are actually quite rare, which is a really good thing, but, they can be really serious, obviously, because of the physical forces involved with trucks and trains. Over the past few years, there's just been a handful of collisions. However, a few of those have resulted in the death of the driver. So I guess we're just keen to keep this issue at the forefront of drivers' minds, because there is that risk of a really serious incident and multiple losses of life, particularly if the collision involves a heavy vehicle and a passenger train or a bus and a freight train. There's a lot more trains in New Zealand at the moment, more freight trains, more passenger trains, and they're also moving a bit faster than they used to.
Megan, there's quite a few crossings around the country that have what you call a short stacking distance. Can you just tell us a bit more about these crossings and what does short stacking distance mean?
Yeah, it's a bit of a technical term, but basically it's one of the crossings where there's not enough space between the railway line and the adjacent state highway. So typically for longer vehicles, sometimes they end up where they actually can't fit in the back of the vehicle, ends up on the track, and so the Transport Accident Investigation Commission have actually identified more than 200 crossings throughout the country where some heavy vehicles simply won't fit. So they have identified that as a known safety risk. So this is a legacy of decades of perhaps not having the right coordination between road and rail. And also, of course, heavy vehicles, the longer vehicles came in a few years ago, so that's sort of increased the risk as well.
So what's the plan going ahead on that? Like, what's the infrastructure plan ahead on that?
Yeah, well, it's certainly not an easy fix, that's for sure, and it's not a cheap fix either. Just putting in barrier arms isn't going to fix the problem. So it really needs quite an extensive program of work, looking at road realignments, maybe closing some crossings or grade separating if it can be justified. So putting in either an overpass or an underpass. There is quite a lot of work going on to try and sort of chip away at these crossings. So KiwiRail and NZTA have been upgrading some of the highest risk crossings around the country. There's quite a number of crossings that have had safety improvements done to them. There's also a trial of technology that's underway at the moment too that will pick up the length of a vehicle, and if it's over a certain length, the signals will activate sooner. Things like that. A few new trials of new signage and stuff to try and help alert drivers, to the fact that they're potentially coming up to one of these high-risk crossings.
Yeah, that's right. And I guess what you just said there is at the very end there, the key is really it's the professionalism of the truck driver approaching the level crossing with incredible caution, because the other vehicle is as big as your truck might be. Your truck is nothing compared to the mass and density and weight and speed of what could be approaching. So what's your advice, Megan, as Foundation Manager for TrackSAFE around truck drivers and level crossings?
Oh, look, well, firstly, we know that, the truckies are really good drivers. It's not an issue of sort of poor driving. But I guess we just want to remind people that there are these risks out there. to be alert and to be aware and to stay focused and to know your route and you know, if you are on a route with one of these crossings, you know, make sure you're familiar with it. And obviously it probably goes without saying, just, you know, always take a good long look both ways for trains. And if there is one coming, you know, don't try and get across if you can see it, because they're usually travelling faster than they look. So, you know, just do the right thing and, keep yourself safe.
Excellent. Hey, Megan, thank you very much for taking some time to help with Trucking Tips with Dave. I think level crossing safety is potentially the biggest tip you just about would ever get as a truck driver. Love your work, love your promotion and what you do around level crossing safety, and thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Dave. Thanks, and stay safe, everybody out there.
So there you have it. Thanks, Megan. Some great tips there. And yeah, while level crossings are not all set up for modern V-down trucks, and they do pose some issues, at the end of the day, as professional drivers, it's just up to us to be extra cautious, to be extra safe, just to take that extra moment to make sure, and it'll make our days a whole lot easier and safer. Thanks heaps. All the best.